Boom. A boom. Okay, so Ilmatix, dude, this is pretty cool, man. This is like, I love the style. I take it you're not done with this, right? I really look forward to like all the shapes coming together because everything's gonna start to pop. It's a bit early to tell, and the density of the propping for this given style, I think, is totally fine. This is gonna be super cool. What type of text are you gonna have text on this stuff? Like on the sign and stuff up here? In general, I think it's pretty awesome. I think that, oh man, where did the Epic Pen? Come on, man. Come on, Epic Pen. Why you gotta be like that? This angle here, I would totally just make that like some large steps. I guess a ramp would work, but maybe if it's a ramp, having this edge maybe further up, so it's not so steep. I think you'll get a better visual outcome for like the angle of this guy, because right now he's facing this way and this guy's straight up. Like if you move that here, it'll be more along this angle, which is kind of nice. Visually, it won't be as jarring. The details on the back are really cool as well, like this, and these are going to be really cool when you see how green they are. I think I need the colors, I think, before we can move forward. This edge might be a little thin. This here, just because of the shape and the weight of everything else. You might want to grab the same thickness as that for here, just so you have some unified scale to stuff, or even to this edge. One of these, dupe it here, and I think you'll be in a good spot. Super cool. All right, so now we've got. Is it Meridad? I think I could be totally wrong on how I'm saying that, but you're always posting really cool stuff, man. I'm super into it. It's really cool. I think that the amount that you're displacing, or either that or the shadows, is causing some skewing on the edges here. Be careful with those. I guess you'll really know once you see it in the final, in a scene, if that's actually going to be a problem or not. In general, this looks pretty good though. The little tiny rocks in there are pretty nice. I feel like it might be missing a little bit of the smaller rocks inside of the crevices, but in general, that looks pretty nice. He taught you how to say it in voice the other day? Oh, that's fucking cool. He accidentally called me earlier, I think. I think it was accidental. I'm not sure. He also modeled those bricks, by the way. You can see here. Or those stones. Using the old Zeta brush. Okay, so... Whoops. Oh, Jesus. Where are we at? There. No. There we go. All right, so this is pretty cool. This is DevG. Looks nice. Looks pretty nice. Glass looks good. The cracks look really good. The dust. It's it's weird because it's like dust was sprayed on. Yeah, Oversun in art related. It looks like dust is sprayed onto the top of it, and I think it's also on the inside, so you're getting like double, like you're doing this and then you're getting that again behind it. So do a double check on if the dust is on the glass as well as on the board on the inside. In general, the text though and the stuff it's really cool. Edges look pretty good. I feel like this might be too black. If it's metal, then I guess we just need to get like what do you call it? You just need a nice reflection for it to feed into the blackness that is currently. I can't do it. I can't do that one. And then the other one that you had posted is this guy. So this looks pretty solid. I think the be careful about how hard these edges are pinching. Roger Reed. Screenshot from Painter. Noted. Well, anyway, so normally what do I stream? I will show you what I normally stream after this, after I get through all these up here. What? Hang on here. 2 seconds, guys. Got something weird going on. Okay, onward. The edges are bothering you. Yeah, so right now you have a pretty hard edge here, just in the shape of the cut, and then all these edges and these edges are really sharp. Beveling those and baking the bevels out is going to help you a lot. Like I can tell that there's a bevel in it already. Making the bevel more exaggerated is going to probably solve that problem. The bevel here is just rounding that shape out a bit more. Dude, this song is super random. I can't do this one either. There's a lot of shapes that look like geometry right now, like just how boxy this is. Like I can tell that this is a square that was extruded out and then beveled and rounded and then extruded in. You know what I mean? Like if you can remove that feel, you're in a really good spot. And don't be afraid to make all these pieces separate parts, because like, if you think about how things are constructed together, like that in itself goes hand in hand with how you model stuff. Like you can model stuff in parts and put them together just like they would in real life, and then you can add bolts to help explain how the pieces are fitted together. But yeah, this detail here is pretty interesting. I don't know what that, maybe that's fingerprints. There's some here as well. I think this really needs a look at your roughness. The roughness is really, I think, where it's falling right now. Because I'm not sure, I don't know what this material is and I don't know what that material is. The dirtiness on the keys, I would see if you can use, instead of a dark color, use like a discoloring color. So instead of like a black, a discolor. But yeah, let me see what else we got here. Yeah, I think that in combination with like some interaction between the pieces, like where AO forms up, maybe adding just a little bit of dust or kind of a griminess without going too far, just some type of value change will help you a lot. And then this screen, I feel like should be either pretty reflective or it was once reflective and is quite kind of oiled and rough now. But yeah, watch out for shapes that look like geo, like the low poly geo that you model with, you know. So this looks pretty cool. That FOV is serious. It's pretty interesting how little you're using the moss on this guy. I'm getting tons of beeps. What is going on? What's happening? That was you? Yes, it was. I think it was. Cool. Okay, so this asset in general looks pretty awesome. I feel like, so you're nailing your materials pretty nicely. They're like having the variation of roughness between this and this is pretty cool. There's some specs and stuff happening in there, which is also really nice. Where it's suffering is, I expect to view the asset from like this range and like maybe like a isometric. That might be the FOV that's doing that to me too. But an isometric view of this asset works pretty well. Love the props on the inside. The resolution though is really low, and I think that using a mask and blending between tileable materials will help you immensely. So if you had like you could make this crest or the shape even its own material with an alpha cutout, and then place those like a decal, and then all of the other stuff can just be masks going between a tileable wood material and a tileable moss material. And then wherever you need like aging in the wood is just like an overlay mask. Check the description. No way. In order to get the Marmoset viewer under 15 megabytes. Dude, that's crazy. Okay, well, there you go. I still, even if it was full res, you're going to want to do the mask, because that's the only way. That's the only way you're going to get that type of resolution to the fidelity of like what current gen games are doing. Can you do that in Marmoset? As far as I know, you have to buy a Marmoset shader tool. There's a shader that you can buy to blend between materials with a mask. But it's not in there by default. You have to buy it. It's pretty cheap if I remember correctly. I think it's like $5. In general, this looks dope though. Love the interaction, the panels being open and stuff. I like that the glass isn't broken. And it's just there. That's cool. Because like it's so often that glass is broken. It's good in certain scenes. In other scenes, not so much. I think this edge could be beveled in the low poly just to get nice light wrapping around the or normal wrapping around the corners. Nice asset though. Looks dope. Looks the dopeness. So this rendered really nicely. This, I don't know what the deal is, man, but this is the Smex. Trying to learn Arnold. That is why, dude. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So the break here is a little odd. It's like a different type of material break, if that makes sense. The breaking up here and then the softening of it is really nice because it's like harsh damage and fracturing that happened a while ago and then it's now softening. In general, this is sick though. It is definitely rendering nicely. The model's 20k tries. What? Hang on here. Oh, I see. So you don't need that much geo up here in order to sell the shape. Oh, interesting. Yeah, you could cut out a lot of the geo up here. Just make sure to force your normals. And I mean those, you don't have to do that. That's like crazy, man. You could cut those down by like to like a fourth of what they are. Like those are really expensive. That, and they're really straight. Like I would actually remove some of the like half of the loops and then cut it down the center a couple times just to give it some curve so that it's not just rounded. I can tell you though, you are optimizing as much as possible. Like, man, there's some geo cuts that you have that you don't need. But yeah, ignore the paper last minute. Those last minute edits, man, they're adding to your poly count. Anyways, pretty cool. Whoa, that is noisy. I was told to look at this one later. We'll explain later. Does that make sense? So now that you have walls on this, dude, look at how easy it is to see what's happening. Like, oh man, that's super cool. Let's see here. Why am I not seeing it in the oh, there it is. Reddington, this is awesome, man. So all the shadow play that you have going on and stuff, really, really cool. I would think about whoa, this song is freaking weird. I'm getting weirded out. Oh man, I don't know what's happening. I feel like I'm walking into some dangerous location. Like, why is it so happy here? So, in general, this scene looks pretty dope. Monkeys and shit. Yes. I feel uncomfortable. The ceiling, I think once you get your lighting baked, right now it's pretty uniformly lit. And I think the ceiling needs to be quite a bit darker, so that way the focus is all on the walls and mainly on the table. I feel like most of what you should be looking at is going to be on the table, unless the table is quite dark and then it's all over here. But yeah, right now there's a ton of shadows which look really cool, and I'm curious how this bakes. Like, I'd love to see this bake first before we move forward, because I need to see how much light is bouncing around. I need to see where it becomes dark. I think your ambient brightness is too high right now. Yeah. In general, though, this is looking cool. I'm curious to see where it's at later when it starts to get a little bit darker. And be careful about adding any more detail. I don't think you actually need any more detail other than maybe stuff on the table. And then you're going to be using lighting in order to control what is visible and what is not, to give your eyes areas of rest. So I expect this corner maybe to be quite dark. Not super dark, but like not a focus. This is a super cool angle of the trenches. I think that's the only angle we got of it in this most recent update. Let me see here. This scene's looking really cool. Oh, where am I at? There. Oh, yep, there it is. Haven't worked on this for a long time, but I'm trying to bring some form of gas into the scene. Particles are not my forte. But what do you people think? Is it working? I think it's working. I want to see it from the lower ground. I would love if you could find like a body that's like that you could get on the ground that's like crumpled up, and just you could call the scene dead silent, and then have the camera slowly panning through the trenches, going over shit tons of bodies of people that died from the gas. And then have the gas quite low to the ground. That's some creepy shit right there. You have some like eerie music in the background. Like, oh man. Chills. I think the gas is working. It's hard to tell from this angle though. It's hard to tell from this angle. And then, what is it, a Jeep, a truck? A truck Jeep. This is from Tommy MC. So in general, this looks pretty good. There's some weird, there's some noisy stuff going on up here I'm not sure about. I don't know what is causing that though. The decals are cool. Poly count feels a little strange right here. Maybe it's just the way, maybe it's not the poly count, but just how the normals are creasing around there. You could definitely add more geo to support the low poly bake, because you can see like you're getting points here. I don't know if you can see those. Where the crease in the normal on the edge is getting a little, it's just not following it enough to sell the shape. From this angle, you can see it again right here, and again right here. There's just some distortion in the normals. The other thing, I guess, is the bumper is not. It's like melded into the rest of everything, which maybe it is like that. If it's not like that, then you should find a way to separate it material-wise from everything else. Even if it's just like a little gap in there, something like that. This feels like it might be a bit larger than it's supposed to be, mainly because there's a little edge of space that's just not, it's just really close to the edge with this edge. So everything's cutting really close. This could add some more polys to it, just so that it's more round. These details are really cool. Love those. Maybe adding a little bit of geo in here so that you can dent up the edge of this, or at least bend or warp it slightly. Other than that, I think the ropes might need a bit more geometry. They feel like they might be low poly right now. And then where those connect, you're going to need some more broad tension lines in the tarp itself. And that highlight is pretty strong. I would see about what the roughness of this is, because it should be a metal that's painted, right? And that paint should probably be pretty diffused, mainly because in the military they wouldn't want something to be shiny in the distance. And then the same goes for the tires are they're very shiny for some reason. Like the wheel well should be shinier. And then these guys should be like less roughness in the wheel well, so that you get some nice reflectivity and some breakup. Maybe even adding the bolts or whatnot, having a different roughness value as well. The core of this could be a different color, as well as the entire wheel well itself. And then the tire needs to have the roughness attributes of rubber. Right now it's quite reflective. I think that should be good over that one. And then we got a backpack and a purse. Looks like ZBrush. Pretty sick here. This is from Jester. First texture pass on the backpacks. That's a backpack too. All right. We'll add some patches and other fun stuff to the backpack later. Dude, awesome. Dude, that's really going to add some character. Oh my god. Is that for real? I'm like, where's my bag? I may or may not have a logo like that on my bag. But yeah. I mean, in general, these look pretty good. I would look at the direction of the pattern, and possibly, depending on what you're rendering this in, I would tile you're probably doing it with the leather. I would tile the pattern of the material. I would tile the pattern of the material as like a detail normal, and like tile it in a different UV set so that you can get some higher resolution out of it. It's a nod to a friend. That's a nice nod, man. Truly friends. Truly. The crease here is pretty soft, especially right here. Getting some soft action going on there. Not too much of a soft fan. I like it, dare I say I like it hard. So, yes. They get really soft here as well. Maybe it's by design. It's supposed to be quite sharp and pinched here, and then it like smooths out and widens as it goes. The attention to detail on the straps is really cool. Forceling. Oh, did you say that? In general, this looks pretty awesome. Any opportunity you have to make something not a straight edge like this, usually take that opportunity to bend it. Like even if it's just like a slight bend, even less than that, just to break away from that, the geometric straight edged 3D that we see from time to time. In general though, ace. This looks dope. The dirtiness on the backpack, you could totally make that with a mask and then overlay that in the shader if you're doing this in Unreal. You'll get a lot more resolution as well out of that. And I think, other than one more, that is it. Let's see. Oh yeah, Oversun and Forceling. We'll look at your guys' stuff. So this is Oversun. The TY Laser 303. Created in Blender, textured in Substance Painter 2, rendered and composited in Blender. Dude, nice. Nice. It's always nice to see stuff coming out of Blender that looks good. Because I'm a believer that Blender's pretty nice. It just needs some TLC when it comes to some tools, which over the last year have been coming in nice and hot. I expect Blender to be pretty up there within the year, or at least an option in some studios. In general, I think this looks pretty good. I'd be careful about let's do this. I'd be careful about that edge there that you can't see because this arrow is blue. That edge, this one, it's pretty sharp. This looks awesome. Be careful with how dark this gets. These details are really small, which I guess can be okay. I would maybe emphasize this depth from here to here a little bit more in the low poly. You just add another loop and just scale the whole top piece just a little bit so that you get some silhouette change. That way it goes straight down, you know, and then it comes out a little bit and then goes down again. Kind of like what you've got going on here. This is good. Button looks nice. This material looks really nice. Let's see what else we got here. The strap feels strangely dirty. Like you could probably walk away from adding the light stuff on there. You could probably do that. If you're gonna do it, do the same color as the strap, but then just slightly darker or slightly brighter. Very, very small. Yeah, all the add-ons right now for Blender make it pretty fucking sick. The only other thing I would say, let's see here. Scroll down here just to show this. So you've got some points here where you totally just need to add more geo. Just like double that and you'll be fine. So that you get a nice curve to it. Yep. Oh shit. Oh no, God. Where are we? No. There we go. In general, though, this looks pretty good. Nice presentation. Maybe take that text and put it down here on the edge, so it's not like blocking everything. Yeah, dope. Maybe dirty up this material a little bit. Go to this one. So there's a little bit of dirtiness to it, but adding a little bit more range in your roughness on this material will go a long way. And then we've got one more, and then I'll show you guys what I'm doing, and then I got to get out of here. Okay, so forceling. It's like, so a substance day to keep the doctor away. A substance a day keeps the doctor away. I worry about the doctor that is involved in people who don't use substance daily. I've been doing some substance tutorials the past days to learn workflows and techniques, and I would love feedback on any kind. Concrete flower pattern thingy is not finished. I know that tutorial. That's a good tutorial. Adding moss and dirt at this moment. Got links if you want more high res. Okay. So in general, I mean, these all look pretty good. I would say be careful on how far you push your depth without worrying about the resolution of the screenshot. The depth here is probably about as far as you want to take it. Like the bolts in these corners feel like they're coming up too far, mainly because the cut that's happening in the middle here for being able to screw the screw. That was your first substance painter project? Dude, nice job, Overson. The divot in the screw there is just too deep for what's happening with the rest of it, so you probably just need to take the screw itself, the height map for it, and histogram range it to bring it within its own range, and then it should just balance out with everything else. Let's see here. Other than that, I think the patterns are looking pretty good. This is looking pretty good. Once you get some, like the cracks that are happening there, add another mask to mask how often it's happening, just so that you can break up where the cracks are occurring, because it's pretty uniformly all over the place. Though the cracks look really good in general. Like just when you follow a line, it looks nice. It just needs to happen not as often, if that makes sense. You know what you could do is you could take the height map of the or the black and white of the cracks, and then isolate those pieces as their own islands, and then give them different values, and then tweak them or shift them slightly with gradients, and the whole thing will actually look like it's fractured and the pieces are kind of shifting. That would actually look pretty sick. This one looks pretty good. The cracks between those are quite wide. They're pretty dark, and they're really deep. They probably don't need to be that deep. And that's me. That is me, guys. I will show you guys what I am doing, and then I'm gonna get out of here. Let me do a little transition-aroo.